There is one organ which causes high blood pressure, and it's not what you think. And there are specific exercises you can use to target and fix your blood pressure easily. No diet, lifestyle changes, or medication required. Check the link in the description below, but for now, today's question.
The question, why my blood pressure is so high? Answer by Paul Wilson. Christopher has it pretty well down pat. Hypertension is generally hereditary, and to get it as early as you have it could mean that you're headed for some early manifestations of hypertension. At the pressure you expressed, if it remains that high continuously when rechecked, then you have stage 2 hypertension. The knowledge we have now indicates that a chemical released by the adrenal glands called renin, it regulates the body's fluid retention, is the cause of most primary hypertension. Higher than necessary levels of this renin are the basic reason for essential hypertension, and its excess production is hereditary. Long-term hypertension can lead to an enlarged heart. The heart is a muscle very similar to your arm, except that it has its own electrical system, and built inside are chambers and valves. But it is still capable of enlarging when overexercised, such as prolonged beating again. SD, a high blood pressure. Bigger isn't better. The heart beats against itself. As it enlarges, more and more dead space occurs. Its output diminishes. Normal output is 65%, but anything less than 55% indicates impending heart failure. 40% or less is congestive heart failure, CHF. The next potential failure due to hypertension is kidney failure. Both CHF and kidney failure are essentially painless, hence the term silent killers. You need to begin taking blood pressure medication. Some will tell you not to. It is your choice. Lifestyle changes are hard to maintain. They are not particularly effective for your stage 2 hypertension. Medication for hypertension is categorized. Patients with stage 2 usually start on the first two categories. Long-term use of these medications have no obvious effects. Exercise always lowers blood pressure, and a moderate amount should be included in your efforts to control your hypertension. Good luck in your efforts. Answer by Nico Rondoli Montaro. High blood pressure can be caused by lots of things, including obesity and lifestyle. First of all, before talking more about blood pressure, we need to get the same perception. Blood pressure is basically the pressure of blood to its vessels. It is determined by 1. The volume of the blood, 2. The strength of the heart in pumping blood, the frequency of heartbeat and the strength of heart muscle, 3. The diameter of the blood vessel. Lifestyle, eating much sodium, either form salt or preservatives like sodium benzoate, can increase the volume of the blood, by osmosis reaction. The blood becomes thicker and it drives fluid from the surrounding blood vessel enter the blood vessel and dilute the blood. High volume will give high pressure on the vessel, which in turn described as high blood pressure. Later on, this will also affect hormone system, what we called Ross renin, angiotensin, aldosterone systems. High content of fat in abdominal area is also believed as contributors to high blood pressure. Some scientists categorized fat tissue as endocrine organ that secretes hormones. Certain hormones produced by fat also affect one of the 3 determinants of blood pressure, which produce the net result of high blood pressure. If you don't have any other problem related to kidney, adrenal, thyroid, heart, etc., the possibility of the diagnosis would be essential hypertension, and the therapy would be lifestyle modification, reducing weight and medication if needed, such as those from ACE inhibitor drugs, angiotensin receptor blocker, diuretics or calcium channel blocker. Answer by Leanne Heisey. I'm not sure if the blood pressure measured was correct. You having anxiety issues would greatly magnify the white coat hypertension effect when measured by a health professional. We need to repeat the measurement, say every minute, using a validated blood pressure monitor the right way, list of which can be found on Dable Educational Trust vertical bar monitors for self-measurement of blood pressure, SBPM, usually going down slowly every time it is repeated, until we find 2 values less than 5% apart, the mean of which we consider to be the true blood pressure at the moment. Blood pressure does vary over the day. Then on 3 other different occasions the set of blood pressure measurements need to be repeated, only if all 4 sets of blood pressure values are above in 140/90ths of a millimeter. HG, you do have high blood pressure. Then your inactivity and body weight. Your BMI is 30.8, so you're obese, which correlates with a higher blood pressure. Losing 10 kilograms will lower blood pressure by 5 to 20 millimeters. HG, exercising by 4 to 9 millimeters. HG, stress reduction 5 millimeters. HG, So just by exercising and having your anxiety issues treated will greatly lower and normalize your blood pressure, if it indeed were too high.